It's 5 minutes with me.
I took a group of young teens to Mexico on a mission trip, and we built a little house for a family. After painting the house, we had to clean our brushes. Our logistics person had picked up some paint thinner or something of that sort, and two girls did the work, getting it all over themselves in the process. No surprise. However, what we used was not the same stuff I had used in the United States. I should have had them wear gloves, though it probably wouldn't have made a difference since they got it everywhere. But whatever was in that clear liquid dried out the skin on their hands and arms to the point where they were quite panicked and in mild pain. We soaked their arms and did what we could in terms of care, and within 5 or 10 minutes they were fine. But one of their dads, a week later, went ballistic. He literally screamed at me for my irresponsibility in front of a parking lot of other parents, for threatening his life's life. Yes, those are the words he used. In no uncertain terms, the dad of this core church family told me his daughter would never, ever, under any circumstances, attend another event that I lead. Actually, the whole time he was yelling at me, I was thinking, dude, we were on a mission trip in an extremely poor community in Mexico. The paint thinner should have been the least of your worries. You probably experienced an angry parent, or a parent who treats you with suspicion, or one who simply avoids you. But while ballistic dad and the paint thinner daughter may have been overreacting and responding in a less than helpful way, his motive was clear. I'm afraid for my daughter. Most of us in youth ministry get into this because we like teenagers. You probably didn't start by thinking to yourself, I really feel called to interact with the parents of teenagers. But effective youth ministry necessarily includes working with parents, communicating, responding, counseling, advising, sometimes equipping. Sometimes this can be fun and rewarding when parents are supportive and responsive, but the honest truth is that youth ministry sometimes includes working with parents who are not supportive and not responsive. I've blown it more times than I could count or remember when it comes to interacting with a feisty or frustrated parent. But along the way, I've slowly learned that there's one perspective, one mindset I can choose to adopt that makes all the difference in the world. Several years ago, a consultant was helping the leadership team of the ministry training organization I was part of grow in our effectiveness as a group, and we all loved what we were doing and loved the youth workers we served. And to an external observer looking at the surfacey stuff, it would have been easy to assume that we all worked together brilliantly. But there was an undercurrent of mistrust between some of us. That mistrust, we discovered, was often rooted in wrong assumptions about others' motives. Our consultant pointed this out rather bluntly and spent time with us, working with us on developing an attitude of curiosity. The idea behind this is that anytime someone does something or says something, they're motivated by a positive intention. That doesn't necessarily mean that the intent is inherently good. It could be born out of insecurity or grasp for power or any number of not so good places. But the person still has something they hope to get, even if it's subconscious, from their behavior or comment. I learned in that case at work that when one coworker made a dismissive comment about an idea of mine, I could adopt a curious perspective about his motivation. And when I did, I could often see that his insecurity was playing an active role. That gave me a completely different set of options in terms of response. Instead of getting my buttons pushed and reacting with defensiveness, which never helped in the slightest, I could ask calmly and with affection, why would you say that won't work? Or what's behind that reaction? When I made a sarcastic and diminishing comment, my other teammates learned to look beyond the annoying behavior to my positive intent, which usually had something to do with my longing for respect. Yeah, I know my behavior was destructive to my own desires. This attitude of curiosity will take you a long way in working with parents of teenagers. This is particularly true when parents are standoffish or dismissive or combative. But it's even helpful when parents are overly compliant or creepy gushy in their support. Hear me on this. I'm not suggesting we manipulate parents by looking for their deeper needs in order to exploit them. I am suggesting that if we want to be bearers of the grace of God, if we want to stop reacting defensively, if we want to defang the sometimes strained relationships youth workers can have with parents, we need to adopt an attitude of curiosity. Bottom line, a curious perspective will change you, which restructures the relationship you can have with parents.
The Youth Cartel Podcast Network.